Welcome to Mercho Insider. Today we're going to explore the core ideas of Thibaut Muris's fantastic book, Master Your Emotions. Look, this isn't just a book summary, it's a deep dive that will give us some practical tools to better understand and gain control over our feelings. It often feels like our emotions overwhelm us, right? But imagine if the power to control them was actually within us all along. So let's begin. First question: ever wondered why achieving happiness often feels like such a major battle? We all go through this feeling at some point. We want to be happy, but small things ruin our mood. It feels like we're constantly fighting an invisible force. Well, the answer to this question isn't in our circumstances, our job, or our relationships, but hidden in our own mental programming. So let's understand the first and most important thing. Our brain isn't designed to make us happy. Yes, that might sound a bit strange, but its primary job is solely to ensure our survival. The oldest part of our brain, also known as the reptilian brain, has been focused on just one thing for millions of years: avoiding danger, finding food, and procreating. Happiness, peace, and contentment, all these are very low on its priority list. And because of this survival program, our brain has a natural negative tendency or negativity bias. This means it gives more importance to negative things than to positive ones and immediately stores them in memory. The reason for this is very simple. Think about it: thousands of years ago, if our ancestors forgot which bush had sweet berries, it was no big deal. But if they forgot which bush a lion was hiding behind, it would be their last mistake. Perhaps this is why, even today, one criticism can bother us all day despite hundreds of compliments. This is our ancient survival mechanism, still searching for threats that may no longer even exist. Now, this formula is truly eye-opening. Research shows that 50% of our happiness comes directly from our genetics, the nature we are born with. But the most surprising part is that only 10%, just 10%, depends on our external circumstances. This means our job, bank balance, and social status, all of these combined account for only 10% of our happiness. So where's the real game? It's in the remaining 40%, and this is where the real power lies. This 40% is our internal factors, our thoughts, our perspectives, our actions. And this is the 40% that we can control. If our inner world is so important, the question is, who's running it? Often, the director of this show is a very anxious character we call the ego. Now, here, ego doesn't just mean arrogance or pride. It's the complete story we've created about ourselves, a story we've come to believe as truth. This story is formed from our childhood experiences, our education, and societal values. It is an identity created by the mind with no concrete reality, just like a character in a movie. So, what does the ego build its identity from? Look, from our body, I am beautiful or I am overweight. From our job, I am a doctor or I am unemployed. From our possessions, our car, our house. From our relationships, I am someone's father or I am someone's wife. From our beliefs, whether they are political or religious, and strangest of all, from our problems, too. The ego identifies with all these things, and this attachment is the root cause of much of our suffering. Because when any of these things change or are taken away, the ego feels like it is dying. The biggest trait of the ego is that it is never satisfied. It's always searching for more fame, more things, more recognition. This is the same negativity bias we talked about. The ego constantly makes us feel that we are lacking something so that we keep running. And this never-ending chase never lets us rest because its purpose is not to reach the destination but just to stay on the journey. So now let's see how these negative emotions, which the ego feeds on, are actually created. It doesn't happen by chance. There's a whole formula behind it, and understanding this formula is the key to mastering it. The first part of this formula is interpretation. When any event occurs, it is neutral in itself, neither good nor bad. We give it meaning based on our personal story, our past experiences, and our beliefs. For example, someone cuts you off in traffic. This is just an event, but the interpretation could be, he disrespected me. Or one could also think, maybe he has an emergency. The event is the same, but the interpretations are completely different. After this comes the second step, identification. We identify so much with the thoughts that arise from our interpretation that we become the thought itself. From the thought, he disrespected me, we conclude, I am angry. We forget that we are not our thoughts, but merely the observers of them. We build our identity with that emotion, and finally comes the third part, repetition. We keep replaying the event and the associated thoughts in our minds over and over. We spend the whole day thinking, why did he do that? What should I have said to him? This mental repetition further strengthens the neural pathways of that emotion in our brain. And what is the result of these three things: interpretation, identification, and repetition? A powerful and often automatic emotional response: anger, sadness, or anxiety. This formula explains the science behind our feelings. And the good news is that if it's a formula, it means we can intervene in any part of it to change the outcome. This is where we find the path to controlling them. Now that we understand this system, let's look at the practical tools we can use to take back control and rewrite our inner story. So, to let go of an emotion, here are three simple steps. Observe. Whenever you feel a negative emotion, instead of reacting immediately, just take a step back and watch it. Feel it in your body, the tightness in your chest, the knot in your stomach, without getting attached to it. Label it, describe the feeling accurately. For instance, instead of saying, I am sad, say, I am feeling sadness. This small difference separates you from the emotion. It shows that you are not the emotion but the one experiencing it. Release, consciously decide to let go of this feeling. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine that emotion leaving your body. Behind all our actions are two fundamental motivators: fear or love. Fear-based action is centered on getting approval, money, or power so we can fill the void within us. When we act out of fear of what will people say, or we might fail, we are operating from fear. In contrast, love-based action is centered on giving time, love, or attention so we can contribute something to the world. This is the work we do because we enjoy it. It's important to ask ourselves which emotion is driving our daily actions. Finally, let's give our relationship with our emotions a new direction. Until now, perhaps we were just passengers in our emotional vehicle. But now it's time to become the pilot. Think of your negative emotions like physical pain. They don't come to make our lives difficult, but to tell us something. Just as physical pain signals that something is wrong in the body and needs to be fixed, emotional pain, like anger, jealousy, or sadness, signals that something in our inner world needs attention. Maybe one of our beliefs is wrong, or one of our needs is not being met. So the most important lesson is that mastering emotions doesn't mean suppressing or fighting them, but listening to them and learning from them. Our emotions are not our enemies, but a compass that points to the areas that need our attention and healing. When we see them from this perspective, they can become our greatest teachers. So remember, our emotions are born from our story, from our interpretation, our identification, and our repetition. Therefore, the final and most important question is, what story will be written next? The power to change our inner landscape is ours. If you learned something from this breakdown, please like and subscribe to Mercho Insider, and be sure to share it with friends and relatives who want to improve their lives. Until next time, take care.